And good evening, everybody. Welcome along to Business Today. I'm JORAM SSONKO with Winnie Williams and Akauti for the sign language interpretation. Many thanks for joining us here on tonight's broadcast. But first, a look at our top stories.
Tonight in Business Today, Chigezi subdued by landslide. Torrential rain sweep away infrastructure in Chigezi as access to Bunangana border is blocked. Is the 5% withholding tax a charge on capital gains? Withholding tax orients to its capital gains. Legislators and tax experts exchange views on rift. Elsewhere, agriculture clogs on tax. Concern over agro taxes persists despite exemptions on particular agricultural supplies.
And now we kick it off from Kenya. As Kenya considers a 15% withholding tax on dividends, Uganda is considering a 5% tax on gross payments for assets purchased. In a move to widen the tax base in the coming financial year, this has been, however, received with mixed reactions over the impact on investment growth. We have details.
Withholding tax often targets government revenue beyond domestic sources to include portions of income that fall within respective jurisdictions. Kenya plans to increase withholding tax on dividends to 15% and the same tax on short-term government bonds to 25%. In a similar move, Uganda, through the income tax amendment, bound to be passed before the upcoming financial year, has targeted gross payment for asset acquisition, with the exception of sellers who had their property as trading stock. Meanwhile, concern remains that the final tax may not reflect the true value of the capital asset at disposal. Still, taxes are bound to be perceived by investors as extra expense, thus a deficit on potential profits. Beyond that, there is worry of unviable investment in certain circumstances.
You'll find that some of these companies and investors will run away. That acts as a deterrent. So for them, they will always try to run away because of that. The other issue that investors will look at is the investment climate in terms of, for instance, waivers, incentives which are available. How quick can you register your business? How quick can you be handled? And the level of corruption in a country. If a country can be able to give an investor what they want within a short time without giving them hard time, then investors will be able to flow in. But indeed, we want to agree, and I want to agree that yes, if you are going to slap big taxes, for instance, 15% on dividends, nobody would love to pay tax. You know, people, even from the days of Jesus Christ, it was seriously known that people hate to pay taxes. And that is why somebody had to make a comment those days. One of the kings, I'm told, said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And that statement holds water. People need to pay taxes, but people don't want to pay taxes.
Inputs, when you tax labor, when you tax, eventually the same investor gets tired and they can think of other places to invest. So we have to be careful about how much we are taxing same companies or same investors.
Tax professionals consider capital gains as a two-way street that could generate revenue for government, but also impact investors or taxpayers' capacity to provide support to the less fortunate. While it is crucial for government to gather sufficient investment to enhance service delivery, lawmakers contend this move must be meticulously scrutinized.
So capital gains tax, first of all, as a country, Uganda, our capital gains tax regime is one of the highest, whereby if you're a company, you pay 30% capital gains tax on the capital gain, whereas if you're an individual, you can pay as high as 40% on the capital gain. That's quite high.
When they go to the markets, they buy so many things. Most of those things already have VAT in them. They have taxes in them. Nearly whatever you touch in the market has a component of tax in it. Nobody should tell you that it's tax-free. There is a cost. Even if it was a tax-exempt product, as long as they passed it through a vehicle, that vehicle went through taxes. So to a certain extent, indirectly, we contributed to tax. And therefore, yes, for me, first of all, I want to agree that when we raise the capital gains tax a lot, it leads to a flight in the investment. So people take off. People take off.
If passed for the upcoming financial year, there is extra ground to explore the outplay of the robust set of tax amendments, including stamp duty, value-added tax, and excise duty, among other financial-related revisions. Runana Habwe, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now elsewhere, agriculture clogs on tax as Uganda's economy heavily relies on agriculture, which does illustrate that most of the country's revenue is generated from it. Legislators and other stakeholders have come out to advise on how the government can get more revenue from the agriculture sector without overburdening the economy or taxpayers. Bronya Katusime with details.
According to UBOS, over 70% of the workforce in Uganda is employed in the agriculture sector, which will account for around 24.1% of GDP and 33% of export revenue for the fiscal year 2021-2022 in Uganda. Despite its significancy, the industry is mainly unregulated, with 4% of farmers on URA's register. This makes it difficult for the government to collect taxes from the industry, which results in a limited tax base. Honorable Katenya emphasized on how heavy taxes on the agriculture sector would cripple not only the economy but also the day-to-day livelihoods of especially our rural population. This instead would make the farmers shun from registering, and in the end the government loses that revenue.
The agriculture sector should not be taxed. Why? Because Uganda depends on agriculture to survive. Most of the industries here are agri-based industries. But we remember, we also want to innovate and go to technology, high-tech. And therefore, we also need money for high-tech. And this will come from us and from different activities of the economy. The increment of the increment of the budget for this financial was 1.9 trillion. That increment is very minimal. It means that we have almost run out of sources of what? Income. Because the economy should be, the budget should be progressive. It's not supposed to be retrogressive. Therefore, we are almost operating a constant budget, which needs for more taxation.
One of the ideas was to enhance the 3% budgetary allotment for agriculture in order to increase revenue by broadening the sector's tax base. Since 80% of agriculture activities carried out sustainably, tax incentives that encourage farmers to formalize their businesses should be implemented. This will first of all encourage other farmers to register, expanding the tax base, and secondly, improve transparency and accountability in the industry.
First of all, our agriculture predominantly is subsistence. So where do you want to tap it, agriculture? Because it's predominantly about 80% is subsistence. So there is no way you can be thinking of taxing agriculture. In fact, we should be encouraging our agriculture people to move from subsistence to commercial before you start thinking of taxing them. So if you are only to tax, you only possibly tax those who are doing commercial agriculture, of which most of them, because the government was trying to encourage commercial agriculture and agriculture. That's why you find things like milk exempted from VAT.
One of the biggest challenges that URA has is that we have a small tax base. If it was that everyone is involved in the tax, on a population, for example, 42 million, you'll find that we are only 6 million taxpayers or 7 million taxpayers.
Government can also use technology to track agricultural production, sales and taxes by using digital platforms. By doing this, it would be simpler to identify the sector's taxpayers and make sure they are covering their fair portion of the tax burden. Additionally, digital channels can give farmers access to banking services, allowing them to grow their companies. Software for electronic fiscal device applications, for instance, will be simpler to use and purchase than the device itself.
Of deployment, there is a tool that we call EFD, electronic physical device. That tool costs about $100. It has been a prohibitive cost for many businesses. They say we don't have $100 to spend on this machine. Now, fortunately, we've gotten a software that can go on any device, including a phone. It is an app-based software. So we are customizing it and we'll soon make it available to all taxpayers. So if you don't have the machine, that EFD, you can use your phone, you can use your tablet, you can use your computer.
With measures like introducing tax incentives, investing in infrastructure, and leveraging technology in place, the government can increase revenue collection without burdening the economy or taxpayers. Bronya Katsime, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
And now we focus our eyes on the Eastern Region Parish Development Model audit. Government initiatives like the Parish Development Model, Emioga funds and other initiatives in Uganda to combat poverty have all been plagued by corruption. Right Honourable Rose Namaya Jansereko, the Deputy Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, Ambassador Nelson Ochega, the Ambassador of Uganda to Nigeria, and other leaders in the Teso sub-region have all advocated for the accountability of monies through monitoring and evaluation, which is essential to the success of government products and projects as well. Samuel Kirimunda reports.
Money has been invested in successfully formed and organized circles in Teso sub-region following the implementation and guidelines of government programs like Emioga Parish Development Model, with the intention to improve agriculture in the region. The area consists of the Eastern Central Lowland Livelihood Zone, where rice, cassava, sweet potatoes, among others, are among the crops grown. Smallholder farmers also raise livestock, including chicken, goats, and sheep, primarily for food and income. In order to ensure accountability of this money, Right Honourable Rose Namayanja, the Deputy Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, has called on leaders to oversee the service delivery programs.
Importantly, imploring them to monitor service delivery, to monitor all programs in their areas of jurisdiction, and particularly to monitor the implementation of the parish development model, the Emioga funds, and all other programs, because this parish development model and Emioga are taking money down to the communities themselves, and particularly those people who are yet to get involved in the money economy. So it's just encouraging them to play their part, to monitor these programs, to ensure that they have lists of those that have received these monies.
The Southern Teso LOC3 chairperson, Sub-County National Resistance Movement chairperson, and heads of security institutions gathered for the meeting to assess the government's progress over the past 2 years in putting these initiatives and the party platform into action. Ambassador Nelson also urged everyone to take part in the execution of government initiatives so that the resources allocated for the government be used to the fullest potential.
Once we have strengthened the monitoring mechanisms at all levels of governance, from LOC3 to the district to the central government, it will create an environment where resources are optimally utilized, where people will get to know what government programs are in place for them to benefit from them, and put together that will facilitate accountability. And once people get involved in government programs, the process of getting them out of the poverty bracket shall have started.
In order to ensure productivity and promote responsibility among all leaders, Augustine Otuko from the Office of NRM National Chairman has also urged both government officials and district levels to cooperate in the fight against corruption of the public funds.
Should be captured. It's a big problem in the country now, mostly when it comes to implementation of NRM manifesto. There is a delay of government programs. I don't know, it is constitutionally or what, and delaying government decisions. More so in the offices of procurement at the district level. You find that the project which is supposed to be implemented like now 2022, up to now stagnant. It's not implemented. So this should be addressed from the Minister of Finance and the district level. We see there's a logic there. It's a coordinated corruption in these lines.
One of the main challenges to Uganda's social and economic growth is corruption. Despite being a glaring issue, there is no thorough estimate, and because of this, it is impossible to develop a proper and effective anti-corruption measures without first determining the cost of corruption and the scope of the issue for Ugandans. In order to help the public realize the seriousness of corruption, government must develop ways of calculating the cost of corruption. A story was compiled by Samuel Kirimunda for SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Elsewhere, Chigezi was subdued by landslides. Now, heavy rainfall-induced landslides in the Chigezi sub-region have wreaked havoc on the road sector, rendering the majority of roads impassable. The route that connects Kabale to Kisoro and Kanungu districts has recently suffered a fatality after being extensively destroyed by landslides in Hamarua Town Council, Rubanda district. This has made it difficult for heavy vehicles to access the districts, causing disruptions to business operations. Norbert Njamhati and Naomi Mutumba have details.
Statistics show that Kigezi sub-region is a crucial hub for agriculture and tourism, with Kisoro and Kanungu districts being major producers of coffee, bananas and other cash crops. Because farmers and merchants won't be able to move their products to markets, the disruption of transportation services is expected to have a severe impact on the local economy. The damaged Hamura-Kanungu road is a vital link for cross-border trade, linking Uganda to the Democratic Republic of Congo via the Ishasha frontier. The road provides a crucial lifeline for businesses and communities on both sides of the border by acting as a significant commerce route for products and services between the two nations. Residents and business owners mentioned how this will affect their money flow.
The water has destroyed a school, and this had taken long without happening. It has already happened. It's an accident. My advice for the bosses of border riders is to simplify things for them, because we are already inconvenienced, and some of us are not even working.
Not only is the Kabale-Kisoro road crucial for linking Kabale to the Kisoro and Kanungu districts, but it also connects Uganda to its surrounding nations, including DRC, via the Bunagana border and Rwanda, via the Chanika border. Fetria Mareba, a resident of Shebeya village, reviewed as the collapse of Hamura floating bridge connecting Kabale to Rwanda and Kanungu has totally affected the transport sector. He also pleaded with the National Roads Authority to take action right away to manage the situation.
Kanungu floating bridge kungamwe natenjura ko yagwire yagwa nyingi munonga amezi gona gale tuku.
This bridge broke after all the rain came from all sides and corners, and it burst. The road broke out, but Uganda National Roads Authority is on their way to come and work on the situation. We are calling on government to come when it is still early.
According to the Uganda National Roads Authority, the landslides have caused severe damage to the roads infrastructure in the Kigezi sub-region, with some roads entirely shut off. Road users have been advised by the authority to drive carefully and stay off the damaged roads until they are fixed. In the meantime, businesses in the impacted areas will need to find alternate routes, all modes of transportation, to maintain operations in the interim.
Advice to all travelers is that we need to allow only small vehicles to pass here, especially like these trucks, they shouldn't pass here. That is one. Two, as the intervention is being done by the government, this is a terrible situation that we have not been experiencing, especially on this highway. So we just need people's cooperation so that we don't allow other trucks to pass here.
To lessen the effects of the landslides and guarantee continued economic activity in the Kigezi sub-region, the government and other stakeholders have been urged to prioritize the repair and maintenance of the region's road infrastructure. Over 60% of Uganda's total banana production is produced in this area, which also makes up a sizable portion of the nation's coffee exports. As a result, the Kigezi sub-region plays a crucial role in Uganda's agriculture industry, supporting local livelihoods and producing revenue for the nation. Norbert Ndiamhachi and Naomi Mutumba, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Moving on, we head to the Mpondwe border. Sneaky trade has pursued as Ugandans have been urged to embrace tax payment as a method for the government to enhance the provision of public services. Irene Babazi, the Assistant Commissioner for the Uganda Revenue Authority, stated this during a discussion with stakeholders about how best to collect revenue at the Mpondwe border. Samuel Kirimunda reports.
Service delivery to the people is enhanced by government if people meet their tax obligation, as why the Uganda Revenue Authority is moving around the country to educate people on the importance of paying taxes. Economic growth in the year rebounded at 4.6% and 6.2% in 2022. Uganda's economy weathered successive shocks in 2022, with GDP growth expected to recover to 5.7% during financial year 2023. Tax collections currently account for 14% of the country's gross domestic product. lower than regional peers and short of the government target of 16%. This hinders the country's capacity to finance investments in infrastructure and deliver essential services.
But we need to appreciate the tax is the price that we pay for the development of our nation. Tax is that contribution everyone gives so that they can have a service they desire to have. So for those that are not paying, I do not think it's in their DNA not to pay. Possibly they have not understood what it is that they need to pay. They've not understood why they have to pay. They don't even know how to pay. So right now we are here to tell them this is how you're going to pay. We are going to tell them this is why you need to pay. We are here to share in what is it that they do not know that they need to know for them to pay. So we are here to enable them, especially their businesses, enable them in our processes, but also enable them in what it is that we can do. Possibly to bring it from the level where we are to the level where they are and the other way around. Regarding those that do not want to pay, we want our country to grow. We want Uganda to develop. We want the things that we want the best for example, good education, we want good roads, we want good public services. This can only be done if we pay every due tax. And if every one of us can contribute a small bit, none of us should have to pay more than we should if everyone contributes.
Uganda Revenue Authority has therefore embarked on a sensitization of all citizens on the importance of tax knowledge to different departments and sectors so that people can be able to meet their tax obligations. Despite fighting smuggling, the Uganda Revenue Authority still has restless nights as a result of the practice. The Uganda Revenue Authority estimates that the government loses at least $270,000 per day to smuggling and unpaid taxes, claiming that some leaders are culprits of this behavior. Therefore, the minister thinks that if the public is aware of how smuggling impacts the economy, they would be able to cease avoiding paying taxes and manage the vice.
But like all countries and all nations world over, smuggling is something that we keep tackling every day. We put many initiatives in place, but we know our borders are very porous. We cannot put everyone at every inch of the border, but we have put mechanisms within which to curb that vice called smuggling. Smuggling affects us in a way that, number one, we have goods on the market that we are not sure that are of standard. We have goods on the market that we are not sure will be harmful to our communities, but also even those that are genuine have not contributed their fair share. So what that does is that to a genuine person who comes through the right and right procedures, they will be disadvantaged because the pricing in the market or the market determinants will be not very advantageous to them. So smuggling is indeed a big vice, but we want to employ Ugandans, like I said, to contribute, come through the right way. Let's see how do we support those smugglers. We will register them when they come, especially when they repent and say, here we are, these are our goods. We shall definitely show them how to comply in a better way.
The Mayor Mpondwe Town Council, Sylvester Mapozi, noted that although Mpondwe border was free to allow free movement of people to the Democratic Republic of Congo, still the fish has not yet full operation because those dealing in fish offload from Democratic Republic of Congo.
Our people have been not complying very well to pay taxes, domestic taxes that are requested from them by URA because of having little information. We are very grateful that this engagement has taken place and people are understanding what they are supposed to pay. And as far as business is concerned, it will help them not to be penalized as it has been to some of them who have not complied to meeting their payments, that is in remitting what is required of them as domestic taxes are concerned. So this is still having issues because the commission agents or the transporters who always take fish across are still taking it across. We are waiting for whatever will result from the businesses as they are going on across, so that when it is brought here, the offloading of fish here is what will boost the fish business here in our market, in the Lubiriha market. But currently, the businesses are still across. The offloading of whatever is being brought, there are very few vehicles or trucks that are offloading from here, which is not yet bringing up the market as compared to us in town. Our assessment, which was at 54 million, they assessed the market to be at 96 million, which will be collected for this financial year. So it is not yet at the level that we used it to collect to assess at, which was 500 million. So it's not yet as it is expected from us in the town council as revenue collection is concerned.
As inflationary pressures relax, the Bank of Uganda loosens monetary policy, and the government primarily depends on tax collection and expenditure efficiencies to reduce deficit. If growth is accelerated, poverty might drop from 41.4% in 2023 to 39% in 2025.
We now return after the break to give you more Business Today reports, so stick around with us.